Trevor Reilly, how you
How
going?
you doing, man?
Good, man. Excited to give you a call. Seeing you guys in a few days when you get here, so looking forward to it. You must be excited yourself.
Oh, man, yeah. It's been a while since we've been to Australia, and it's definitely one of my favorite places ever. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, I know we're all super excited to go.
That's
Get
great.
back there.
It's your first headline tour in 7 years in Australia, so that's
Yeah.
a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
But you guys were here for Hits and Pits and Sound Waves. How did those tours go?
Oh, those were great. Those were so much fun. I mean, the Soundwave, of course, got to play alongside a lot of bands that I never would really have a chance of really seeing live a lot of the time. Like especially Faith No More, that was a huge deal because they hadn't played anywhere. I know they're making a comeback now with the new album and stuff, but back then it was like unheard of them to play anywhere near the States.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to see that was pretty incredible, and along with a lot of other incredible bands, and then Hits and Pits was so much fun too, because we're playing, we're getting to play with a lot of our favorite bands and contemporaries, and also bands from back in the day, Voodoo Glow Skulls, Mad Caddy,
Yeah.
and Good Riddance, like super fun. It was a great time, and especially when you're touring out there in Australia, it's more, you kind of get to know the people in the bands a lot more.
Yeah.
Because you're traveling together all the time and everything, and kind of run into each other a lot more and everything like that. So that aspect it was really cool too. But of course, the best part about it, any of these tours, going to Australia is like the fans. The audiences are so awesome out there. They love this fast melodic music. We definitely feel like a kinship. A lot of the Australian people, just going back there, very first time we were out there, was when Les and Jake brought us out, some of the most friendly people on the planet. So that was definitely a huge thing for us too. Getting to know the fans first and foremost,
Mm-hmm.
and having such a great time with them at shows.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you guys released Party Crasher in late 2013. You've
Yep.
been touring that extensively since then. How's that going still? You're still feeling fresh if you play it in Australia again, or?
Oh yeah, it still feels fresh. We're still there's still a lot of songs off the record that we've never played before. That
Oh, right.
we're kind of that we're still itching to play. And for each tour we try to bust out at least one new one for people. But living with Brian and Mike living outside of Massachusetts, it's a little bit tougher to get together and practice. So
Yeah.
a lot of time we kind of rely on sound checks and stuff like that. And of course, if we're doing support tours, you don't really get those sound checks,
Mhm.
a lot of the time. So it's a little bit tougher to break in the new stuff, and kind of because of course, when we play it live, we want to do the stuff, justice, and be as boned up as possible as we possibly can.
Yeah.
But the reactions have been great, for the stuff we've been playing. Everybody's been, everybody knows, has been singing along at the shows, and it's So we're really happy. We're really happy with the the reactions that we've been getting. So
That's wicked. I see. I've been watching some interviews of you, and you talk about how you're a kind of a sporadic sort of writer. You normally have about 3 songs going on at once in your head.
yeah.
Is that still happening at the moment? We got some more ideas coming out, some new material.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if we have a lot of voice memos and stuff like that, kind of
Yeah.
filling up my old phones and stuff like that. So the ideas are always there, the little germs of ideas, and I'm sure it's the same for the other guys too. I'm sure everybody's got some ideas brewing. I know I was talking to Brian, and Brian's got some stuff. He didn't have a lot of songs on Party Crasher, so I know that he's had some some stockpiles. Probably, I'm sure, kind of itching that he's been talking to me about that. He's wanted to collaborate on with me and send out. So with all that, the ideas are always flowing. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of getting them, putting them together. The most fun way to do that is really to get all the guys in a room and, for all of us to kind of jam them out. That's the best way to write songs. I feel like on Party Crasher, we didn't quite get a chance to do as much of that as we could, as we would have wanted to. But I'm sure with this new one, definitely I want to go for something a lot more spontaneous.
Yeah.
Kind of kind of vibe, you know what I mean? And however that comes, whatever that ends up being, we'll definitely end up putting the Wilhelm stamp on it.
That's good, man.
Try to gussy it up.
Exactly. I can't wait. Also, you guys you're doing a couple shows in Melbourne. Me and my friends, we all got tickets to the first show. Then you announced the fan request one, and we can't miss that. So a bunch of us are going to 2 of these shows. You must be excited about the fan request shows, right?
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that's awesome. I'm so stoked. Thanks so much for you and your buds for grabbing tickets and
definitely, man.
For both of them and like everybody out there as well that have done the same. Like, yeah, we wanted to do another show, and our manager Ray, kind of came up with the idea, of doing the all request thing. We tried it at the fest in Gainesville this past year, and it actually went off pretty well. Like, some songs we've never played ever, and we think that's cool. We're hoping to get some good sound check time in so we can kind of, at least run through all the stuff at least once, so we can do a good job, the best we can and stuff, on some of this stuff. But
are you a bit worried though? Wouldn't there be maybe a couple songs from maybe off Benefits of Thinking Out Loud? If that came up as a request, you guys might not know it. You might not have played it for a long time.
Yeah, that definitely happened. I definitely noticed a couple of Benefits of Thinking Out Loud out there. But then again, luckily for us, like the ones that were requested from that, we've all played, together as a band, so we could probably pull it off. So I don't think it would be that big of a deal. But there's some, of course, there's some we're looking at. Ooh, oh boy, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We'll see what happens, but yeah, I figure, we've done the whole, the full record thing for, complete record shows and everything like that, for a couple of our albums. We thought that was cool and stuff, but personally, I like the all requesting a little bit better, just because of the sense of danger. It's not really a sense of kind of like homework.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sense of like, all right, let's see what you got. You know what I mean? Kind of like, let's do it. You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty cool. It's important to stay on your toes. You don't want to get caught in a rut of doing, the same shows